call you back. I like that you did your research. I gotta call you back.
So there he is. Aiko is working.
Peace.
That's how you start an episode with Aiko working.
Yes.
Guys, we're live, man. Again.
We're live again.
One more time.
Hey, we're live, party people, live and direct with our man, Alex Gaudi.
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 I think from now on,
trying to be funny.
Bro, you know, from now on, I think we're gonna have our guests.
No. You better get the name
name
right, people. You better get the name right because if you say Gaudi at the door, no, let me in, man, Gaudi. They're gonna be like, nah, dude, go to the back of the line. You know what is it called?
When I met the guy, I actually thought it was Goudier. I don't know, for some reason.
You're the only one. I've gotten that quite often.
So how do you say your name, first of all?
Alex Gaudi.
Gaudi, there you go.
Gaudi.
I've been saying
Don't
it
get
right
it wrong.
for the past 15
Don't
years.
get it wrong.
Pero
because
sí
you
soy
will not
Latino.
get in.
There you go.
I'm Latin.
Where you from?
Well, I was born here, but my family is from Cuba. They came in 1960.
Nice. Yeah.
Nice.
No Italian vibe, no nothing. You got like that Italian.
Well, I feel like Latins and Italians have a very similar,
We're universal.
very very similar flavor. Yeah. I mean, I personally like the Latin vibe better.
I've seen you hanging with Gianluca Viacci, now that you mentioned, a few times.
Yeah, a couple times. Yeah.
Not really
All right,
hanging
so
out with anyone.
for you few people who don't know who Alex Gaudi is, Alex Gaudi is a very well-known nightclub promoter. I actually, when I introduced his name to the show, I mentioned him as the comeback promoter of the year.
Comeback promoter of the year.
I mean, this guy, I had the pleasure of working with Alex back in the day. I mean, I'm not even gonna say how many years ago.
Oof. Old school?
Very old school.
Very old school. I don't know.
Part of the Hookie Jams?
How old are you now?
41.
41 years old. This motherfucker looks good. You know.
Oh, we're allowed to cuss on this show?
Thinks good. Oh yes.
Oh, good. Okay.
Explicit
Now I
language.
feel at home.
Don't hold
We'll
back.
beep it on later.
So I had the pleasure of working with this guy back in the day in Mansion on South Beach. Was the first time I think we did something together, and
What a great
bro,
experience that was.
bro. It was an amazing experience, and I can tell you one thing: I learned a lot from you back then.
Oh, wow.
The main thing that I can tell you that I took away from you was to lead by example. It was something that like, everybody, you had I've never seen such a big ass team of promoters, like, I don't know, like over 60 people working. and the way you handled the team, but you were always showing everybody this is how it's done, and it wasn't like just giving orders and treating them in that way. I was just taking notes at that time.
Wow.
So it's a pleasure to have you here.
I know. Thank you
cheers,
for inviting me on, man.
Thanks for coming.
When you invited me to come, there was no way I could turn you down.
Salud.
Never done a podcast before, so.
Well.
By the way, we're sharing Cusqueña beer one more time, but
Yes.
Alex is having his favorite drink. Talk to us about that.
Cavassier. I mean, you've seen the movie. What's that movie?
That's the Cavassier.
What's the name of that movie with the guy that drinks the Cavassier?
All right, we probably won't remember.
007? What is it?
No,
But we'll put it down here when we remember.
he's actually a radio
figure it
show
out.
host, the black guy with the afro.
Shit, bro, you watch
Jamie
different type of
Foxx.
porn. I'm only a porn guy.
I should know, but anyway.
Jamie Foxx. Hey, well, cheers.
Hold up, Corvassier
Cheers
was the
and-
name
and
of a
shout out
booty
to the
movie.
But before we get into the drinks and everything, man, you went in hard, old school, this and that. You didn't even introduce. Hey, welcome to the Nightlife Entrepreneur
Show.
podcast. We're here. Let's talk about our hashtags. What's your hashtag? Like, let the people know to follow you. Let's get into this.
By the way, we've been drinking for a while, no?
Well, hey,
Yeah,
happy hours here in Wynwood Kitchen and Bar with Cerveza Cusqueña. Can't go wrong, man.
Exactly.
Miami, it's always a good time to drink. No
It's
matter what
always a
time.
good time.
Always,
At
always.
whatever time.
Even on a Monday.
Brunch, on a Monday.
True that.
Yes.
True that.
So,
You want to be quiet for a minute?
yeah, let's moment of silence for what all the questions we're about,
All right.
we're about to ask. Alex, okay, so how do we begin?
The first thing I wanted to ask you
Old
man,
school,
was
new school.
how did you end up in this business?
Oh wow! So, I think most people, at least me personally, and from what I gather, most people kind of get into it by accident, right? So, in high school, I was always throwing parties, house parties, and back in those times, you would get a keg, you would go to somebody's house,
That's so funny.
and then you would charge people for a red Solo cup.
This is what happens when somebody doesn't listen to the previous show.
I did not. I'm guilty.
No, but you know
that's
what?
good.
It's
You
an
see,
amazing
it's not
thing.
a lie.
It's exactly my words
Exactly what
from
you
how when I started, and you're
business.
using the same words and the same red solo
Yeah,
cup.
the red solo cups, and
funny.
and you know, you start making money that way. And back when I was in high school, you could be 18 years old to go to the clubs on South Beach.
Right.
So when you're a senior in high school, you're already going out and you're partying. You don't have $1 to your name, so you're bringing the girls with you, and you tell the girls, hey, go to the bar, get guys to buy you drinks, and then when you guys have a few, come back to me.
Straight up.
Right.
And that's what we used to do, because and we would have our little flasks, and we'd be drinking before we'd be pre-gaming, and you got introduced into nightlife that way from a very, very young age in comparison to other cities, I believe, and such a high level of nightlife. Back then, that's when Madonna was at the clubs, and I would see the Miami Heat players, and you would be rubbing elbows with some celebrities at 18 years old.
So you were doing these house parties, and then you kind of started noticing that you had like a talent for this.
I kind of dreamed about it, but I didn't become a promoter because right out of high school, when I finished, I went to the Marine Corps.
Oh wow!
So,
so was it like you felt like, okay, I need some discipline in my life, or?
Well, you know what? I was actually really, really afraid to go to college because I was like, I am not gonna make it through college. I'm gonna be partying way too much, and I'm gonna get in trouble. So let me go my ass to the Marine Corps.
Let me go fight for this country.
And it was actually a great decision. The experiences were invaluable. The people I've met are still my best friends to this day.
Wow.
Alice, did the Marines in any way change or shape the way you worked in this business?
100% it did. 100%. Yeah, when I got out of the Marine Corps, and I finally moved back to Miami. It took like 7 years. I got back to Miami, and I was on the GI Bill, and I was going to FIU. And back then, I was working during the daytime at my aunt's real estate office. I was coaching Pop Warner football for little kids on Key Biscayne, working out every day, and then I would try to party at night. And
busy guy.
something's got to give at some point, right?
Yeah.
And somebody from Crowbar, which was the biggest, hottest club in Miami at the time, which is where Cameo
What
Theater
year?
is.
What year we're talking about?
This was 2002.
Okay.
They're like, hey, I was always at the club, and I was like the Justin Timberlake. I liked to dress cool, and I was always dancing, so I always had like a bunch of girls with me. And one of the owners of the club was like, hey, would you like to work here? We'll give you free drinks. And I was just like,
That was the first perk.
I was like, no, but I thought I was a big time negotiator. I'm like, if you really want me here, you got to give me $100 too, right? Thinking $100, and the guy said, sure, no problem. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna get $100. I'm gonna give them to the club. I'm gonna get free drinks, and I'm gonna be able to go to the bar. They didn't give me a table back then. It was like you could be at the bar. They'll give you all the shots you want, and it was pre-made shots. So I didn't even have a table, didn't have a bottle, didn't have anywhere to sit. I was hanging out at the bar. But what that forces you to do is to interact more and to I was always meeting girls because I wasn't stuck at my table.
Right.
Of course.
So there was some cool,
Which is a mistake that a lot of people make at some point in their promoter career. It's like you get a table, you bring your 5, 6 closest friends or girls.
Absolutely.
Put them at the table, sit there, and spend the whole night there, just looking cool. And
You don't get to network.
They're not working.
They're
They're not networking. And
you don't get to work the
for sure. You
clock.
gotta continue to build and grow.
We could go down there. Yeah, I mean, social media has changed things too as well. Like the interaction level has definitely decreased. I mean, the promoting game has changed completely,
Right.
completely. But back then, yeah, you really had to work hard, and you knew you were in a fortunate position to be a promoter. So I feel I took my job very seriously because it wasn't easy to get that job as a promoter back
Right.
then. Everybody wanted to be a promoter, and you didn't want to lose your spot, so you had to produce. And it's not like when you're throwing parties, when you're promoting, it's not like pay-per-view. Let's say a boxing match, a promoter, right?
Right.
A boxing promoter. He promotes this event, puts all this hype out there, all this hype, and the fight lasts a minute and a half.
Right.
The worst thing ever, right?
Right.
You create all this hype. As a promoter, the harder you work before the fight, the party,
Right.
When you create all that hype and people buy into that hype, the hype is automatically going to become a reality because everybody showed up, and that's all you need.
Right.
You just need them there.
Right.
Now the party's going to be till 5 in the morning. So there's a lot of satisfaction in that instantly. But on the flip side is you always have to perform. There's a lot of pressure for your guest list to have a lot of names checked off every night because people can gauge exactly what you did. They can look at your guest list, because back then we used to actually turn in guest lists.
Yes.
And they could see who showed up and who didn't show up.
Right.
And they know how many people came on your behalf.
Right.
So though for me, being a Marine, I had like a process, a protocol that I kind of
An agenda.
And I went step by step because I had to make sure I killed it every single night. And if I didn't, I felt like a scumbag. I felt like I sucked.
So
You
the
had to
Marine,
wake up earlier and go do your,
so the Marine kind of like helped you put everything kind of in order, as far as
Yeah, definitely.
what
It gave
your
me the
task
discipline
was.
I needed. I mean, I remember I was so on point when I first started in this business that I would call a girl to invite her out. She's like, oh, I have a test tomorrow. I can't go out tonight. Da, 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 da. So I would write down test and history,
Right.
or whatever it was.
Right.
And then I would call her the next day because I'd have a list. I'm like, hey, how was your test
was
in
your test?
history? Wow. And that was part of my process because I knew if I wanted her to come out with me, when you're a beautiful girl in Miami, every promoter in Miami is calling you every single day. They're sending you text messages, so why is she going to come out with me when she can go out with any promoter? She's going to get invited to all the hottest parties.
Well, the calling was back then.
Yeah.
I mean, as a general theme of this episode today, we thought that it'd be good to look at the fact that promotion, the job of a nightclub promoter, was one of the coolest things back then. Today, it's been kind of downgraded, or I don't know what word to use, but
it's
Well, it's
brilliant.
just the same,
It's
you know?
brilliant on the side, from an owner's perspective, because what they have done is they've taken the power away from the promoter. Because the promoter used to have the power. The promoter used to make a lot of money. So as a business owner, when you're giving away these big percentages to promoters who have this big following, you're like, yo, how can I keep some of this money, more of this money for me?
Right.
The promoter was getting the shine. For instance, I'm not going to mention the owner, but I had Will Smith's manager and some really important people at my table back in maybe 2006, and some NFL athletes, including Jerome Bettis, like some major guys.
Right.
And I had one of the best tables in the club. And the owner of the club, for no reason, kicked me out from that table and put me on a worse table. And he knew exactly who I had at my table.
Right.
And I knew exactly why he was doing it.
It's a power trip.
The power trip. He was like, Alex is the cool guy at my club.
Right.
And I can't.
And everybody there knows it. That's
We
the
spoke
worst
about
part.
that.
knows
Yeah,
it.
we
spoke about that.
So
last-
there's
last
an ego
week.
thing. But then the money thing. So what do? They dilute it. They hire a bunch of promoters, nobody that's getting a percentage, right? They're getting a flat fee.
Right.
So now you have 30 guys working in a space that used to have 6 guys.
Right.
And
So you guys get an idea. Back in the day, it used to be 6 people, the most, who'd own a party, own a night, and basically put in 1,000 people in one spot. Just those 6 guys. And nowadays, you have to build a team of 30 people plus in order to put 400 people together in one room. So things have changed. And those 30 people most likely don't want to work for that one promoter. So which is part of what we're trying to do. We're
exclusivity.
trying to educate this new
Generation.
promoters, the new generation, how to do it right, how to build the right team, and the ones that are being part of a team, how to grow into becoming, self-made, bro. I mean, I've never seen you as a company, but you are your own company. You've always worked like with your own name, right? Or is it mostly?
So when we started working together back, which was in 2005 at Mansion, I used to run a party at Rumi on a Thursday night. I did a dinner party. I did a few things. I had a team of like maybe 12 promoters that worked underneath me. And they brought me into, we were at Mansion. You guys were doing Latin,
Right.
rock and español in the main room, and they put me in the back room.
Right.
And it was during it was in March, so it was spring break here in Miami, and that's when Wednesday was the worst night in Miami to go out. Nothing was happening on a Wednesday night except for Michael Capone had Bed going on, and that was house
Right.
music. And
Yeah, I was completely against this party on Wednesday nights at Mansion. By the way, I mean, we didn't think it was going to be what it ended up being.
oh no, man, what a
when
monster
you
that
joined,
became.
actually.
But what it was brilliant. You guys were in the main room and doing the rock en español, and in my first night, I ended up having 17 guys that we worked together in the smaller room. And when I say small room, it was still a big room.
Right.
It was still a
Yeah, the club
how
needed
many
2,000 people on a
2,000?
Wednesday.
The club holds 2,000. The Cadillac Lounge is what we were calling it. Probably could hold a good 300 people, which is a nice sized club. But we did more numbers in sales in that room than they
the
did in
rest?
the main room. So then we're like, you know what? Let's combine everybody, and we're gonna combine hip hop with
Latin.
and that's gonna keep the unwanted element out, which is
And this is
Because
back when
this is-
reggaeton was not as hip as
Yeah, yeah,
today.
and
of course.
Miami was still had its reservations about hip hop. You had to be very careful with when you had hip hop parties because you didn't want to bring in
It was
the
more like
thug,
commercial.
The wrong crowd.
It was more,
element.
It was more commercial hip hop.
Well, hip hop in general just wasn't as accepted as it is now. I used to have a lot of problems with, I have a lot of professional athlete friends.
Well, same with Latin music, by the way.
Yeah. But
That's why we got on Wednesday.
And they wanted they wanted that hardcore. They wanted Wu-Tang Clan.
no, it's not that they wanted that. The venues would fight with me about bringing my black friends into the clubs.
Oh wow.
And I was one of the first
Unacceptable.
promoters to kind of bring those worlds together here in Miami.
Kind of like open up that vision.
Yeah.
Today it's crazy
Hey,
to see him dancing reggaeton all over the
Going
place,
back,
man.
going
Oh,
back
yeah.
to one thing, I want to just for our listeners, I kind of want to understand a little bit more of why would a club owner, if Will Smith and these people are at your table and that's you brought them in, you're obviously gonna entertain them, host them, make them feel at home, and that makes them spend more money, right? Why would he want to put you in another table? Is it because he wants you to work another table and make that other table spend more money?
No,
And
he-
kind of like, hey, I got this? Or was it an
No,
ego?
he took
is it
all
an
the
ego
wrong
trip?
reasons.
Everybody
Always
that was
the wrong
sitting
reason.
with me at that table
Uh-huh.
was moved and put in a crappy table.
Oh, wow.
Now, these celebrities and managers,
Yeah.
95% of them are not your friends.
Okay.
They're going to go to whoever can take care of them the best. And as a manager, your job is to make sure that your client gets the best treatment everywhere he goes.
That's what makes them come back.
So that manager doesn't care if Alex Gowdy gets him that service or if somebody else, but he's going to find out who's going to give me the best service.
Right.
So the second that they see that I'm not that guy,
Boom.
they're going to go to the owner. They're going to find out, okay, why were we moved? We want to be sitting over there. We're obviously with the wrong person.
It happens
Yeah.
with some owners,
So
and
it's
it
like-
happens with some bad
So
management. too.
what piece of advice could we give a promoter,
A young new
nowadays
promoter nowadays?
who's kind of like dealing with that and an owner? Like, how does he? Is it something that he should go up to the owner immediately and say, "Hey, man, listen, I'm doing my job right. I'm bringing in these people. Come on, give me a break. Like, if I'm bringing these people, why are you gonna sit them in the worst table when you know that they're expecting the best service and the best table in the spot?"
Some of these
Listen,
things
Miami-
usually go unspoken for some reason. Some of these things usually go unspoken for some
Yeah,
reason.
Well,
Like
I think, once that snowball starts rolling down,
Yeah,
it gets to a certain point that there's nothing you can really do about it, right? So, live is what it is, and it's going to be what it is, and there's no stopping it. And South Beach is what it is, pretty much. What's beautiful now for promoters who want to create their own following and create their own niche is you got to. My phone is doing its own stuff, people. Yeah. I think
It's
some
four
these-
of us being
Some
in
of
it.
these club owners are tapped into my phone.
it's a
and
good
they're-
thing about doing this live.
So, they, you have Wynwood. Wynwood's a great place for new promoters to start off and create your own niche and your own following. You got to stick to what you're true to, what you love, right? And don't let anybody else influence that.
Right.
And create your path. Like I just got hired by Cavassier. I was in
Shout
I
out to
was in
Cavassier.
Chicago a couple weeks ago, learning about the brand and and when I first got up there, they have their own ideas of how they wanted to market. And by the time I left there, because I stuck to my guns and was introducing them to the reggaeton and the Latin. They were like, hey, we like that. That's cool, right?
Right.
I could have very easily been like, okay, they don't like that. Okay, I'll just do what they want me to do.
Right.
And you can't do that even in nightlife. Play the music you want to play. You can't put a DJ that a club likes just to make them happy, because then you're not going to be happy, and then that's going to trickle down to everybody else that's on your team and then to the people that you invite. You got to do what you love. If you love Wu-Tang Clan, play Wu-Tang Clan. If you love, do what's you. You got
the way I see it is you got to make your niche as small as you can.
Yeah.
You know, you got to make a decision. What is it? Okay, so I cater to a Latin crowd, right? But my Latin crowd, when I started, it was mainly Colombian, Venezuelan. After I started growing and my crowd started growing too, then I decided, okay, we got to go a little further than that, because now I need more people. And some of these Colombian people are not here anymore. So now we open to a different. Exactly. You tweak depending on what you need and the clubs you have.
Depending on the venue. If you have a venue that holds 1,200 people as opposed to one that holds 250.
But focus on what you're good at.
Stay true to yourself.
I could have never done a good hip hop party.
Stay true to yourself, right?
And then when you need that other element, because you're like, okay, like when we did Mansion on a Wednesday, there was no way Latin or hip hop on the right hip hop crowd was going to fill up a place of 2,000 people on a Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Until it happened. And with the best Latin promoters in Miami, with an up-and-coming group like myself. That was the first time that I was ever in charge of a party. I had already been in the business for about a year and a half, and that was my first opportunity to be the headlining promoter, if you will, of a party. And when it blew up, it completely changed my life.
So you guys kind of united forces.
We
so
did.
It's always important to let promoters know, hey, if there's a room that needs to be filled, or a weeknight, like on a Tuesday or on a Wednesday that you need to fill, sometimes you need to unite forces with another promoter.
Nowadays,
and there's nothing wrong with that.
More than ever.
More than
ever. Now, promoters are doing what hip hop artists started doing, joining forces. Reggaeton artists are doing, joining forces, putting songs out together, all this. And you see a lot of parties nowadays that it's not just one company, but it's 2 or 3 even doing it. And it's just due to the fact that you can't.
And everybody's splitting the pie. Is that what's going down?
Yeah, everything's negotiated different. Every deal's always different.
It all depends on the company. But in the end, I think there's one main reason for that. You mentioned back in the day, everybody was calling everyone. Today, people are using social media, right? And they think that's all they need. A lot of the promoters, they think that by posting something, a flyer especially, they're going to get people at the party. That's a reminder.
Yeah.
That's a reminder. Number 2, okay, they send a text. All right, so if I get a text, I might think about, this venue that this guy just posted a picture. Remember that if you post something on Instagram, only about 10 to 15% of your people are actually going to see it. Number 1, so whatever you think your followers are, go 15% of that. That's how many people actually see it. Number 2, you text all your people. Let's say, on average, people have 1,000 people on their phone, and they text all their 1,000 people on their phone. The same. Another 10% of them might pay attention to this. You know what I mean? But if you make a phone call, which is what we used to do back then, it was very personal. We would go to their houses. We'd get them out of their jobs.
Right now about writing down, hey, history
very
says
few
on
people
Wednesday.
actually continue to do that, and they all they do is send that text, post that Instagram picture, and they think the job's done. That's why you need 30 people to do it, because it doesn't work that way. Now, if I make phone calls, I make 100 phone calls in 1 week, bro. Believe me when I tell you that 80 of those people are going to show up.
And they're bringing people with them.
Exactly.
Is that what works? How do you feel the industry has changed as far as promoting a club with social media, and the way that back in the days you used to have to call that girl and write and make that note down, that at the end of the day made it more personal, and I would assume that person felt more special when she saw that she received a call and, wow, he remembered that I had a test. You know what? I'm going to go to him because he remembered that. How do you capture that connection now with social media? How do you do that?
Well, I don't think you do it with social media.
No?
He said it perfectly. It's a reminder. It's like Pepsi putting a billboard up and it says Pepsi. It's just a reminder. Phone calls is still the way. Or personal text that they know is a personal text works too, because we live in a different era. People respond to text messaging. Right. But it has to be personal. It can't be a blast, and people know the difference now.
Got it.
Wow.
That is there enough? Is there enough hours in a day for that? Like for you to be able, or you have to have your team also? Hey, follow up with this
There
person.
is, but you need to create just like when people who have a 9 to 5, you have your schedule for the week, and you know pretty much how your schedule, what you're going to do every day, and at what time you're going to do it. You need to actually set a time. It's okay. On Thursday, I'm going to spend this many hours calling. Right. On Friday, I'm going to do this.
Following up.
And if you have a dinner party on Friday or Saturday, your first calls for that dinner party should go out on Monday.
Right.
So for those,
not 30 minutes before the party.
So for everyone who thinks that, hey, being a promoter is easy and it's kind of like just partying, because a lot of people, they feel that it's just
it can be if they want it to be that, if they want it as a hobby.
No, I understand that, but for those who believe that it's just party, it's not that way. You have to set yourself.
If you're to be good at anything in this world, you got to work hard.
You got to work.
You got to work.
Nothing is easy.
And there is no substitute for hard work.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
it could be the party thing. It could be the easy. You could be the really good-looking 23-year-old who doesn't have to do anything to get a group of girls to come out. But if you don't work hard, then that's all you're gonna ever be.
And you advise those promoters to set a schedule like, hey, Tuesdays make it your call day. Wednesdays make it your follow-up days. Thursdays make it your second follow-up.
Everybody's schedule is different, so it depends on what types of parties you have, how many parties you're doing a week. And then you can do cross promotion on certain things. You can, sometimes you'll have a dinner party on a Friday followed by a party right after, and you'll use that dinner party as a tool to get girls to come to the after. Oh, if you come to the party, I'll take you to dinner beforehand. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
And then you call your boys up and like, hey, I'm going to dinner with I got 8 girls coming for dinner tonight.
Which, by the way, that's a new thing. The dinner party before, right? That's like the new.
Yeah. Well,
I'm hearing about
dinner party not as much as brunches.
What's happening now is
day parties.
It's so much more competitive. There's so many more venues. You got to offer more.
Right.
Like you got to offer people more to get them to come out.
Yeah. So you get an idea that the whole idea and concept of the dinner party prior to going out is because you convince people, let's do like if you weren't thinking of going out to a club, let's go have dinner. Yeah, let's go have dinner. When they're at the dinner, you convince them there. You make sure they go afterwards. A lot of times there's a lot of free dinners for ladies. There's venues that do a lot of free liquor. I'm against the craziness that's going on today because, back in the day, people would call. I'm like, it's my birthday. What can you do for me? All right, how many are you? We're 50 people. Okay, so you need to get 4 tables for the 50 people. The cover charge is this much, so you guys can pay in advance. I'll give you a discounted rate. You pay that much, and you get this table, this bottles, and we'll put the cake and decorate your table, something like that.
Cool.
Nowadays, okay, so these guys next door are giving me
they call
a bottle.
You, they tell you.
Yeah, the actual clients will say, what are you going to give me? Because I'm getting a bottle for every 5 people or girls or whatever, and I'm getting a champagne bottle for my birthday plus 1 for all the 6 girls.
And that person has 1 million followers. So what are you going to do?
Not even. It's like anything, like anybody, like whoever, like anybody gets a lot and no cover charge and whatever. So I'm like, in the end, it's like either you give them a little more and take it up the ass, or don't give and let them go.
Yeah, look, even the big clubs like Live in Story are offering the world to people because they're huge clubs and they have to fill their doors. So when you're working at a smaller venue and you're not going to offer as much, and those venues usually have big artists that they're booking.
Right.
It's become very corporate. It's become a lot like Vegas.
Oh yeah.
South Beach is forgetting about the locals.
Completely.
They're giving away everything free to the girls, and then it's tourists who come in and buy these really expensive tables. When I first started promoting, when Crowbar was the hottest club in Miami, you can get a bottle of Grey Goose for $250, and that was considered expensive back then.
Right.
Like, wow, $250 for a bottle plus tax and tip and all that. You're spending over $300, close to $400, three something. Now, a bottle at the premier club on South Beach is going to be, with tax and tip, is going to be like over $600. And the minimums, you can't get a table at Rockwell on a weekend any less than $2,000 normally, unless you have a really good relationship with somebody, or unless for some reason they're just really, really slow that night, which doesn't happen very often.
That's of course very different wherever you guys are from, the listeners. We're talking about Miami. This is one of the happening places. Like wherever you go in the world, been around, seen a lot of parties in different places, and Miami for some reason has something, you know, like.
Well, Miami's Miami.
But you know, you got to take care of your locals though, and that's so.
Completely.
A lot of the locals are
Forgotten.
Are forgetting, are tired of South Beach for that reason, but the beautiful local 22-year-old girls and 25-year-old girls and all that, they're not tired of it because they're not spending a dime.
Right.
And they want to hang out at the table next to Lil Wayne and next to Drake.
So do you think South Beach is having a hard time or no? With everything else that's popping up, you know, the Design District, Brickell.
Compared to there's some venues that are still doing really, really well. Liv's doing well, Rockwell's doing well. Everyone else is always struggling. It seems like nowadays.
I mean, it's kind of like there's like a little mafia in a way. You know what I mean? You got the big boys and then everybody else, and everybody else is always struggling, and the big boys.
But they have to charge. They have to do what they're doing too, because I mean the rent on South Beach is ridiculous.
Right.
And they're dependent on table clients that aren't from Miami for the most part. They're people that are traveling, that are in town, and all these venues have relationships with the biggest concierges and VIP hosts in every city, in Vegas and New York, and so they kind of control.
Do you get hired to work in other cities like Chicago? You just mentioned that you know in Chicago you were able to make some moves, you know. Does that work everywhere, or was it something that, you know?
Well, you know, I've been doing this for a long time. So whenever you know, 2002, 2003. So whenever you've been doing it for that long, obviously you're going to have contacts in pretty much every city that has any type of nightlife going on.
That's awesome.
So could I do, I mean, I have 6,000 contacts in my phone. And I have them all broken down into groups. You might be in 3 or 4 groups. So if I meet you and you're from LA, you go into an LA group automatic. So when I get to LA, I can go to my LA group and I'll have a couple hundred people there, and I can already send out messages to whoever, hey, I'm in town, what's going on tonight? But that also works if I need to do an event out in LA. I'm going to be able to contact these people instantly.
So that's what that thing was. Crazy Hose Group. Is that what that was?
Yeah.
So
your job,
so your job gives you that flexibility. Does it give you that confidence and that flexibility to know that, you know, if you ever get tired of Miami, you're like, you know what? Let me look at my LA group. I got like 2,000 contacts. You know
For
what?
sure.
Let me go to
But you know what?
LA.
I'm tired of nightlife, period.
Oh, yeah?
To be honest. I mean, not because there's anything wrong with nightlife. I'm 41 years old and I have other things that I want to do and things that I'm actually working on now.
Cool.
But
owning a club?
No.
Anything like that? Okay.
I don't want to serve. I don't want to do anything in hospitality.
Got it.
I've done it long enough. I want to go out when I want to go out, to where I want to go out. And if I want to bounce to 5 different places in one night, I want to be able to do that. Cool. I haven't typically gotten to do that all my life because I'm normally working. On a weekend when my friends are going out of town for the weekend, and I want to be able to go out of town too. My weekends are my work week.
Yeah. So what are your like your best and worst experiences you've had in this business that you could recall?
I've had some really good moments. You know, I remember when Jamie Foxx's group would be calling me from the private jet we just landed in Miami. You know, This was after he won the
Oscars.
The Oscar and all that, and did 3 different times he did a party for me.
Nice.
Without even charging, and just came and blew the roof off the place. Those were really special moments for me.
You have a lot of athlete friends too.
A lot of athlete friends, you know, and they're still my friends. The other day, we were at dinner with. I was at dinner at Marion, one of my favorite restaurants in Miami, it's in Brickell actually. And this girl that comes with me to dinner often, she's like, man, every time I come to dinner, she's like, you got some of the most interesting, coolest friends. You know, all these, and it made me think, I'm like, wow, man, I'm really blessed to have these people as friends for so many years. Like these guys have been some of these people 15 years, and these are people that everybody wants to be. That kisses their ass.
It's the fact that you took it a little further than the usual promoter.
Yeah.
You'll see a promoter.
You know one of the things that, you know, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing to a club owner, it's a bad thing. But a lot of my athlete friends or celebrity friends, when they hit me up, or I hit them up to come out, they're like, hey, do I have to get a table?
Right.
And I've always said the same thing. I said, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do.
Exactly.
I said, you're my boy. So if you want to come hang out at my table, you hang out at my table. Now, if you'd like to get your own table, because you got friends coming, or if you want to purchase bottles on my table, you can. But the same way I invite any of my friends, you're invited like a regular. And that's how I've always treated them.
Nice.
And I miss out on sales that way, 100%.
Right. Yeah.
But that's just how I've always been.
Build relationships,
good.
bro, and you're real. It's how you feel about them. It's not like you're trying to be their friend because you want to get them to buy a table. And I think that's what makes things different. You know what I mean? Like the fact that it's real, that you are, genuine about the fact that you want to be their friend. And I understand it 100%.
I think that's a good also a good little tip. You know what I mean?
Of course.
To kind of make sure you stay. Look, what I'm getting from Alex is that he's been true to himself as far as music, as far as his style. And,
Right.
Which has changed completely in the past year, by the way.
And by the way,
Wolverine look.
I am addicted to reggaeton.
Oh, okay,
That's
yeah.
my shit.
Hey, listen. What about trap? Trap, Bad Bunny, all these
Yeah,
guys.
that's what I listen to now.
Okay.
Ozuna and Bad Bunny are
Hey,
are
because
my two favorites.
because that's important. Sometimes, like he said, some people could say, hey, no, listen, this is what we want you to play. This is what we want you to do, and he's taking that initiative to say, nah, man, listen, this is who I am. This is what I'm gonna be, and even with those guys that he's promoting, celebrities, athletes, he's telling them, dude, come hang out with me. It's no pressure. Don't feel that every time you call me, you have to buy a bottle for $3,000. It's just, come hang out, come relax. That's a great tip for all those promoters.
And
that
these
are
guys,
coming out.
they don't really take advantage. If they're coming through with, even if it's just girls, if they're coming through with 6 girls, they're gonna buy a table. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Now,
Now, if they're
you-
coming by themselves or with one of their boys.
Let them make the decision.
Yeah.
You haven't
Don't
mentioned
push 'em.
any bad moments, so that means it's all been.
No, I've had bad moments, but for
It's all been
some,
good.
I've always, for some reason, I shut those things out. I really have to give it some thought. I mean, I've definitely had bad moments where the people that have owed me money, where I didn't get paychecks, where that happens in this business a lot.
Oh, okay.
So make sure, promoters, when you close a deal, I don't know, get it in writing.
Even
Try to
getting
get
it
that
in writing.
money.
Listen, there's no way around it. You're in this
Yeah.
business, you're going to be owed money at
sure.
different times.
Okay.
And
So it's just part of the business.
It's
Hey, guys,
unfortunate.
don't let it get out of hand.
I've been on both sides. So I've
Well,
been on the
you
side
ended up
as
owning a club because
as
somebody owed you
club
money.
owners. But right,
By the
that's
way,
one.
I'm still owed money from house.
Exactly, from house,
Hey,
for example.
Wow.
Well,
What's up, bro?
Exactly.
You brought me in over there. You
Hey,
gonna
yo.
take care
Exactly.
of me or what?
For example.
Oh, he owes you money.
Well, not me, the club.
Hey,
but
hey.
for example,
Let's call him right now. Hey,
Actually,
let's
that's the club that when Alex decided to come back into this after a short or long, actually, I don't know how long you were off
Because you took a
the
time,
nightlife. He took some time on for
Yeah, I took some
himself.
time off. I was raising my son.
Nice.
Um,
Very good. Shout out
So
to
he
your
moved in
son.
with me when he was 10 years old. I was a single father, so I was like, oh,
Awesome, man.
this nightlife stuff is not going to work
Yeah,
for me right now.
we'll
We're
get
gonna talk
to
about-
that in a second.
we're gonna talk about that in a minute.
But yeah, for example, I brought him back. I asked him to come back. He did. He came back to that party that we were doing at this club.
That house.
Very close by
Yeah.
to here. No
No
shout
name
out
club,
to that.
they
Man.
didn't really have their own.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was
No,
crazy.
no, no.
I think I had like 70 something people that came.
Yeah.
there.
Shut that house.
I mean, I can
I'm
tell you.
glad
I
that
mean,
I was
house-
like-
just to use a number, just that the place alone owes me $38,000. If you're interested in knowing.
So after this interview, because that club is right around.
So if anybody wants to go collect that for him,
Exactly.
You
we're
can
gonna
have
go
half
knock
of
on
it.
those people's door.
he'll give you
Yeah,
half.
that's great. So what I do want to say about that is the fact that it doesn't matter, guys. Like, do not give up if somebody owes you money in this business. It's gonna happen.
Sorry.
Try to collect. But if
Happy
don't,
hour.
just pass that page, go on to the next one, and keep on going. It's gonna happen. So I said earlier that I've been on the other side too.
But learn
I've been
for it
I've been
not
an
to
owner.
happen.
I've been an owner in situations where I'm not the deciding owner, where there's other people who are making the decisions, and I'm just a partner. And I've seen how many times they go, you know what, this is not as important. This promoter doesn't work here anymore. Forget that payment. Put that to the end of the list. We got to take care of the, electricity. We got to take care of whatever, the rent. It's,
Which is sad.
It is sad, and it shouldn't happen. And that's why I believe that there should be a lot more regulation in this business, because I don't think there's enough. The same way that the realtor it's regulated. I think a promoter should, and the one way to regulate them is regulating, that if they're owed money, it should be getting paid.
Well, listen, buddy. You know what?
Or
My boy
a lawyer.
is the mayor of Miami.
Exactly.
And two little kids. Maybe we need to set up a meeting with.
Shout out to our boy Las Quintero and Mayor
I
Francis
love Laz.
Suarez.
Oh yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Shout outs to the
No,
mayor.
but definitely, we gotta make that happen.
It's
Man.
awesome.
I'm telling you, we're
And
gonna make that
I'm
happen.
sure
president.
that
They're gonna-
eventually has to happen, right?
I think so, and they're going to be interested in doing so, and positive things are going to happen.
Protecting you guys.
I mean, a lot of promoters are not going to feel happy about it because a lot of them get to do whatever they want, but I think everything
Hey, but
should
that's
be.
kind of cool. Like Alex just said, you know what? All those negative things that happen, I kind of shut them
off.
down, and I just keep it moving. I don't let that negativity kind of like consume me. That's
Best
a good
tip.
way to look
Best
at
tip.
it.
Yeah, when I'm in the moment, it's not that easy. At the end of the day, I'm a Marine, and I get really upset, and I have certain expectations of people, and they don't usually get met. I'm a very look. Everybody's got their flaws. Mine is not being honest and fair. That's never been my issue, and that seems to be so many people's issues.
Yeah.
And it really drives me
Fortunately.
crazy, and I get really upset about those
People
kind of
don't
things.
stick to their word.
Yeah, I have high expectations of people, but I also give that in return. I've known Julio Mario for 15 years, somewhere around there. We've never had an issue. We're the same type of person. We're honest and we're fair.
Right.
We might mess something up. here or
We've
there,
known
but
each other that long too. The only issue we have is that I'm still telling him to bring Yahe back, and he doesn't want
to bring what?
Yahe back.
Yahe
Oh
back.
my God!
He doesn't want to,
Who knows?
We
have kids,
Stuff is happening soon, but we'll talk about the new ventures.
That's
soon.
the only issue we have.
Alex, you mentioned being a single father a little while back. Usually we end the show with a little segment called the Night Father.
The Night Father.
The two of us have 7 kids between us, not together like we mentioned
together.
before. But
4 kids, he has 3.
Right, but
Yeah.
you have one,
busy.
right?
One.
A little older.
Yeah, you'll be 20 in less than a month.
Well,
And,
it sounds crazy that you have a 20-year-old.
And on Instagram, his little profile
Give him a shout out.
is you don't see me at the club, but I don't see you at the bank.
There you go.
So,
Tired of seeing that quote, man. I'm getting tired of it.
he's not into clubbing. He's been working for the past year now as a linesman for the electric company. He moved to North Carolina, making great money.
So the question is, can you be a parent in this business?
That's
Yes, of course.
Yes.
I mean,
Heard
just- You have to learn how to balance things. Obviously, like look, when I was a single parent, his mother had passed away, so
Sorry.
I was thank you. So I was the only thing he had. So if we were together, or if he still had his mother in his life, maybe I wouldn't have had to have left Nightlife. I don't know. So yeah, there's definitely there's always a way. And if you it's not going to be easy. Nightlife schedule is rough. It's tough. Even if you don't drink, just the schedule is grueling because all night you're at the club, but there's all kinds of day work you need to do too.
Oh, yeah.
People think that it's just a party and a
Sleeping
night,
in.
but
Stop sleeping in.
It's really a 7-day-a-week job. Even on the day you want to take off, people are hitting you up for different things.
7 days a week.
It really
listen.
is.
If you want to take it seriously, yes.
Yeah, it really
sure.
is.
And you
It
want to be
really is.
successful at it.
For
It's
sure.
a 7-day-week job.
But it is possible, and
So
it's
for those
rewarding
for
in the
those
end.
who want to
But-
kind of like leave their regular job and they're kind of like, it's just that I want to be a promoter. It seems fun. What do you say to that person who has a good, secure job?
It's still fun.
Do you tell them? Hey, look, what I feel is like if it's in you and it's kind of like in your mind and it's something that you want to fulfill, I tell them, hey, go ahead, go for it, man. But don't think it's not work.
But you're only going to get out of it what you put in.
There you go.
I mean,
You're only gonna get out of it when you.
yeah, I can't really give anybody, tell anybody what to do in that situation. Only they know themselves. I can only tell them what worked for me, or why it was a good idea for me, or
You've given some good advice.
Yeah, man.
Let me tell you, man. Like, stay true to yourself. Be honest. Kind of like be in control. be disciplined.
It's a lot of white hair on this table for a reason.
Oh yeah,
There's a lot of
for sure. And look, I've had my ups and downs, man. I'm a human being, and I've had my times where I was drinking too much or partying too much or whatever, and my business suffered because of that. It's just like I have a lot of friends in the NFL, like I said, and I can tell just by the way they live their lives why the ones that have the success that they have that kind of success. Just by the ones that don't party during the week, the ones that don't drink at all, the ones that are up every day at 5 a.m. training, and you see their play on the field reflect. And it's no different in nightlife. If you're the guy that's partying and you're at after parties every day till 10 o'clock in the morning, talk to me.
I'm sorry. Like, was there a game that you went to that you saw the guy playing and you were like feeling guilty because that you made that guy party the day before? Was there any situation?
No, because you know what? I've never pushed anybody to party.
Okay.
Well, it happened to us.
Ever,
Yeah.
ever.
It happened to us, but in baseball.
But I do remember, and I won't mention any names.
Venezuelan pitcher, but the party ended at our club. It ended at 5 a.m. He went to the after party at Space.
Oh no.
Went on till
And then
whatever
he played
hours.
that day?
He played at the 1 p.m. game on a Sunday.
Oh.
Pitcher. He was out by the third inning, 3 homers. I'm not gonna say the name, but he was.
Well, I'm sure somebody's
Triple
already done
A
that. But look,
2 weeks
when the
or so.
Miami Heat went to their first NBA championship in '06,
See,
I used to run a party
Spilling the beans.
at Privé on Thursday nights.
Yeah.
And on that Thursday night, the next day, I can't remember which game it was of the series, but it was the NBA Finals.
Wow.
And I had a couple of Miami Heat players in there getting drunk.
You were like,
Just getting wasted. And I'm just like, and I'm a huge Heat fan.
yeah, you were like,
Yeah.
nah,
I'm like, what
don't
are you
serve
doing?
these guys anything.
Get out of here.
crazy.
And luckily we won the game and we won the series.
Yeah.
But I was just like,
Miami
man, some of these people have, it doesn't matter what level they're on, they have their demons and their vices too.
Yeah.
And he could not discipline himself to keep his ass home. I just couldn't believe it.
Hey, but check it out.
Right.
At the end of the day, you gotta understand them. They're kind of like living that. They're celebrating.
Yeah, but you're in the NBA Finals. You
Yeah.
still got a
I hear
game.
you.
You got a championship to go
You
get.
gotta
Hey, coming
celebrate
from a
after
Marine-
the championship.
coming
But
from a
celebrate
Marine,
right after.
You got a
That
regular
discipline.
game. These guys are making millions of dollars, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you got to take those games serious.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
one of my boys plays for Cleveland. A very good friend of mine plays for the Browns. And we were just talking about this the other day. And I was asking him about the nightlife in Cleveland. He's like, we didn't win one game last year, so I don't know. I didn't have anything to celebrate. And he was a rookie last year, and that's the way he lives.
measured it.
And yeah, he's on point.
That's good.
And he takes his career serious and his training serious. So he's gonna have that already. He's gonna have a long and successful career because of that.
sure.
That's the attitude you gotta have.
For sure. All right, guys. So I think it's been an amazing
man.
episode.
So
an
many
amazing
great
show.
tips.
This guy has a lot, to talk about. So we probably end up having him back at some point. It's
sure.
great to talk to him.
Thank you guys for having me, man.
No,
This was really,
please.
really fun. I'm glad I could make it. I almost didn't make it.
Almost, man. But
Almost.
Part
as
of
a
the
Marine,
business.
you made it.
Hey, man, when you
happen.
put please,
Yeah,
I'm like,
man.
man.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, I can't miss
Yeah,
this.
man.
Thank you,
I can't miss
thank you,
this.
thank you so
so-
much for being
Thank
here.
you guys for having me, man.
Again, wanted to mention your social media.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
How do people
this
follow
is a
you?
funny social media, guys. Yeah, I didn't know Instagram was gonna be so popular. Once I created the name, I kind of just kept it.
Right.
But back in the day when we used to have AOL Instant Messenger, I was 25, and at 25 I thought I was an old man. I just
Okay.
felt old.
Okay.
So I made my Instant Messenger the Young AG, stands for Alex Gowdy.
Right.
The Young AG. So in honor or in commemoration or whatever of my AOL Instant Messenger, I made my Instagram the Young AG.
Right.
So that's my Instagram.
At the young AG.
At the Young _AG.
All right. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's kind
Hey,
of fun.
listen, I love it, man. He's definitely true to the
Hey,
game.
I want to
true
shout out.
everything.
I want to shout out to this guy. I want to make sure that all you people that are listening,
Yes.
send us messages, talk to us, let us know what you want to hear about. This guy from Toronto,
Oh, our boy.
Deshay.
Shay. What's going on, man?
Shout out to him, man.
Thank you for all the love.
After hearing all this stuff,
Listen,
you can
we got
do
the
it.
best right
your
here.
goals, your goals are very
It's
probable.
23-year-old from Toronto.
23.
From Toronto,
Yeah,
right?
I remember.
And
yeah.
and bro, just keep on going, keep listening. Watch out for the courses that are coming.
I think Alex
and all
inspired
you guys,
him.
man, you just write to us. Let us know that you're there, that you're listening. We're gonna be here to watch out for you guys. This guy's gonna be leaving a spot soon because he sounds like he's planning on other stuff. So
make room for the young guys. Do a better job than
You're gonna give
the
some room,
old man
right?
is. I'm like Michael Jordan when he was in the Wizards. You know what I mean? Like I'm not that good anymore.
But soon he'll be part of your university, right? The Nightlife Entrepreneurs University.
he'll probably be part of that for
Definitely.
sure. He'll probably be part of that.
Hey,
so
I want to give thanks to Cusqueña for the happy hours that they have here at Wynwood Kitchen and Bar. We want to thank the Wynwood Kitchen
What
and Bar.
would we
for
do
having
without
us.
Cusqueña right
Man,
now?
let me tell you, Cusqueña is coming through. We want to thank Cavassier.
Cavassier, baby.
Cavassier seemed nice. So, hey, if you want a good happy hour, come out here to Wynwood Kitchen and Bar. And they have Cusqueña on happy hour.
right.
Yeah, food here is excellent.
Hey, don't forget.
You can follow me at Ico
Right.
at Ico Taps Beer.
Ico,
and
Ico,
at Ico Doral Food and Wine no, not Ico Doral Food and Wine Festival. At Doral Food and Wine Festival.
At the Nightlife Entrepreneur with underscores between the words.
Yeah, man.
Did you understand that?
No, say it again, man. Say it
It'll be
again.
written down here, but the underscore Nightlife
There you
underscore
go.
Entrepreneur.
Hey, thank you so much.
Make it
Man,
complicated.
thank you guys, man. Appreciate being here.
Cheers.
Salud.
Thank you. Looking forward to coming back. Till next time.
Are you gonna top Alex? Dude? Who we got?
No, we're not gonna be, topping
man,
off
yo.
Alex, but
Alex
next week
is-
we're gonna get into a detailed part of this business, something that's happening, which is social media, and we have a social media expert, guy that runs social media for a lot of different brands, clubs, promoters. So he understands what works, what doesn't work, so that we don't, we sound like we do understand it. This guy is,
gonna break it down.
deep and break it down for sure.
Okay, yo.
We won't say
tune in.
names, but
Tune
he'll be
in
here
next
next week.
It's gonna be very interesting for
Yes.
all your social media heads.
All right, see
Definitely.
you then.
See you there.
We're still on here?
Yeah, man.
Oh, I
Así
thought we
con
were
eso
done.
terminas.